Greetings from World University and School, building on MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages, and also like Wikipedia with Wikidata in 348 Wikimedia languages as we seek to build out in all 7,159 known living languages for the latter, Wiki Schools for people-to-people Wiki teaching and Wiki learning. So as we wait on this Monday, August 10th, 2026, at 10 a.m. Pacific time, to see if people want to join this open WUAS weekly business meeting, World University and School news and question and answer. I'd like to share a little news with you further, and following up also on reaching out to the Bundeskanzlerin Angela Merkel regarding developing potentially World University and School, possibly first in Germany on the Open edX Europe platform via abstracttechnology.de, based in Berlin, possibly adding MIT OpenCourseWare in its more than 2,500 courses to the Open edX Europe platform, possibly translating this into German and creating possibly 2 first World University and Schools, the Germany World University and School in the German language, upon which World University and School then might seek to accredit in Germany, and the English language, initial English language, World University and School, also from potentially the Open edX Europe platform. So I've explored some of this in the past 2, I think, WUAS weekly business meetings, but a little bit further. Dear liebe Bundeskanzlerin AD Angela Merkel, World University and School community, networks and friends, Universitians, all. Greetings from World University and School and the SF Bay Area, and I'm seeking to revisit further the following on this Monday, August 10th, 2026, and having done so also on August 3rd, last Monday in weekly business meeting, if the opportunity arises. And for example, if people join the WUS weekly business meeting, loosely conducted in the manner of Friends, NTFs, Quakers, or not. So item A, abstract-technology.de regarding the Open edX Europe platform. So World University and School received a number of emails from abstract-technology.de and replied also to Jaimin Pavashia, Stefania Trebucci, as well as Bundeskanzlerin.ad Angela Merkel, Roland Vogel at Stanford Law Codex, Sid Mazumdar at Health and Human Services in the US federal government, Peter Norvig, Stanford Distinguished Education Fellow and Google AI Director, and all. And see the WUS agenda and news from about 2 weeks ago in July of 2026 in the blog, in the weekly business meeting beginning Wuling Yuan Mountains, China, in some of these regards. And how best for WUAS with abstract-technology.de to add the following CC4 MIT OCW in 7 languages to start the Open edX Europe platform with World University in School, or to start World University in School on the Open edX Europe platform, and even accredit WUAS in Germany. So the two URLs for MIT OpenCourseWare in its 7 languages are ocw.mit.edu in English and opencw.aprende.org/courses/translated-courses, where it's in 6 other languages besides English, and where MIT OpenCourseWare has partnered with these countries or organizations, universities, academic institutes that have these languages in their countries. The languages include traditional Chinese, Spanish, Turkish, Portuguese, Persian, so regarding Iran, and Korean. Those are great resources for further potentially translating in possibly Germany World University in School, MIT OpenCourseWare into German, and then possibly accrediting initially with a German accreditation agency, as well as developing, say, World University in School in English, also in Germany with abstracttechnology.de and on the Open edX Europe platform. Brainstorming, could the Open edX Europe platform become accreditable with universities on it? And could somehow in America, then possibly even with the US federal government, but possibly other accreditation agencies, could they then possibly accredit World University in School on the Open edX platform with credit based in America, out of America, and with possibly a USA-based accreditation agency? Item B. Also, we received a few weeks ago from gushworks.ai 5 initial web pages for World University in School that would be great for students interested in World University in School to get started with free degrees from their countries. They're all in English, and they're prototypes. I shared them some month or two ago in the WUAS weekly business meetings emailings to about 1,800 people as attachments. And they aren't postable because they're encrypted. For example, in the blog post where I initially shared them, the WS Weekly Business Meeting blog post where I initially shared them, but they're a great start. World University in School doesn't yet have the funding. How best to proceed with this? So regarding gushworks.ai, and after getting an invitation from Anna K. Lee there to make some free web pages for both wings of WUAS, searchable and findable in ChatGPT or Gemini AI for possible clients or customers who are searching on for free World University in School degrees, and these would be possibly prospective students. These 5 web pages are kind of a breakthrough for World University in School, and I blogged further about this here on Tuesday, June 16th, 2026, about nearly 8 weeks ago, in the blog post beginning wetlands in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Next step, hashtag Anna K. Lee Gush, which is a Twitter hashtag, possibly a LinkedIn hashtag too, at World University in School, and regarding the hashtag WUAS Corporation Press. Can we build a few pages? This is what Anna K. Lee asked for World University and School and the WUS Corporation, so for both wings, the WUS Press, at zero cost, that appear when buyers searching for your services ask ChatGPT or newer AI tools. This is what Gushworks does. See more about this further in the blog post beginning wetlands in my blog. So thanks for the web pages you built, and looking forward to being further in touch. We may have to fundraise for this with possibly simplergrants.gov, but stay tuned. Item C in this introductory letter: how best to proceed possibly with simpler.grants.gov for both of these. Sid Mazumdar in HHS, Health and Human Services in the US federal government, others, could, or in what ways could the US federal government help develop these further? Received also just yesterday from a Kate Clark at a company in Reston, Virginia, called Reload UX, Reload User Interface, a further inquiry whether they could do an audit on our pages and regarding AI, for example. I found this interesting because Reston, Virginia is where I think a lot of US federal government agencies, or some or a few, may have their offices, for example. And in World University and School seeking to deploy with the US Federal Toolkit, how best could World University and School possibly develop our web platforms for both wings with the US federal government? And regarding funding too, it does Reload UX have relationships? Do they do web platforms for agencies in the US federal government? Do they know, for example, computer scientists, PhDs who might further help build out World University and School's web platforms for both wings? One, the nonprofit World University and School, 501c3, and two, the WUS Corporation for the academic press at WUS in 7,000 languages, and the WUS Educational Services Stores, physical, digital, in possibly a WUS store within store model with Walmart in 19 out of 200 countries. Would we fundraise for this with simpler.grants.gov, or are there other ways that possibly these three organizations, abstract-technology.de and gushworks.ai and Reload UX, could help build out World University and Schools platforms? And regarding funding too, possibly with World University and School initial funding through some sort of arrangement with the US federal government. Item D, in what ways could an accredited or accrediting WUAS, World University and School, in Germany, matriculate students in English from all 200 countries, beginning around Monday, January 4th, 2027. So in about 4.5 months from now, and possibly also matriculate students in the German language as well, as we accredit, possibly with a German accreditation agency. Item E. So World University and Schools Open WUS weekly business meeting, news and question and answer, meet on Mondays. Next on August 10th, today, 2026, at 9 a.m. Mexico City time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Mountain time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, US and Canada, 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 10:30 p.m. India time, 1 a.m. Tuesday, the next day, Hong Kong time. But please check your time converter from any of your 24 time zones to join this open WUAS weekly business meeting with Zoom URL in the open WUAS weekly business meeting agenda and news for today, which begins Sandia Mountains Wilderness, New Mexico, and with an invitation to join this WUAS weekly business meeting with your questions and answers, and which recording will be posted here at youtube.com/Scott McLeod World University /videos. Also, email me if you'd like to join this open WUAS weekly business meeting, president@worlduniversityandschool.org. So here's the agenda for today's WUAS weekly business meeting, beginning Santa Cruz Mountains, California, posted on Monday, August 3rd, 2026, about a week ago. If you care to join weekly business meeting by watching the video, watch it with that WUAS agenda and news from last week, Monday, August 3rd, beginning Santa Cruz Mountains Wilderness, or I think Santa Cruz Mountains, California, on both blogs, worlduniversityandschool.blogspot.com and scott-mcleod.blogspot.com. So World University and School is growing daily, and weekly business meeting by weekly business meeting. And check out the business meeting labels in both blogs. And before these weekly business meetings with WUAS monthly business meeting by monthly business meeting, loosely conducted in the manner of unprogrammed friends, non-theist friends, Quakers, and blog post by blog post too. And waiting, I think, for accreditation opportunities to further develop. And in WUAS, seeking to deploy with the full US federal toolkit as well. And WUAS is waiting for money from simpler.grants.gov initially, or grants.gov, or some other grant somehow, a MacArthur Foundation grant, and how to grow a flourishing, engaged, and engaging research community online. MIT and Harvard's How to Grow Almost Anything Synthetic Biology course online as a model with HTGAA as blog labels in both blogs. From when I was a global listener in this course in the spring of 2025, which is for registered Harvard and MIT students, as well as for committed listeners and for global listeners, such as what I was. And how best to grow an engaged and engaging WUAS wiki teaching and wiki learning community with wiki teachers and wiki learners teaching and learning in any of these subjects at the subjects wiki subject page or school at wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/subjects with a capital S, or beginning new wiki subjects, first in English, but then in all 200 countries' main languages, and then for speakers of all 7,159 living languages to do this. In all these languages, and again, with wiki subjects one can create, for example, about what one loves to do, what one loves to teach, or what one loves to learn about, and possibly for career preparation or career experience even, and both online with a 2D, 3D computer screen, and in our homes in a developing realistic virtual earth, in digital glasses and similar hardware, and especially in WUAS multimedia rooms, in our homes, and which we create or eventually are able to purchase. A WUAS hospital multimedia room, for example, And at the WUAS Academic Medical Center, e.g. out of 670 Ridgecrest Canyon, California, 94516, potentially 2. And see this Google Earth in an immersive meeting room as an example for the potential for n-dimensional developments and developing a realistic virtual Earth in a myriad of ways further, and with AI and ML. So if you had such a Google Earth in an immersive meeting room with text in the sidebar on all 4 walls of the room, with also just at one scale, the language of DNA, those 4 letters, AGTC, in text in the sidebar, and you were doing research n-dimensionally in such a WUS hospital multimedia room, with possibly it being projected from all 4 walls into the center of the room for the n-dimensionality further. This could be a remarkable development in building out DNA, for example, the language of DNA, text in the sidebar, with the images of molecules n-dimensionally and for research as World University and School starts to further aggregate the databases and data libraries for this, and with World University and School in a hashtag Grow with Google WUAS program. So here are about 9 MIT multimedia rooms that I Google searched for and found, and regarding a whole bunch of different purposes, and including for n-dimensionality, and for possibly visiting museums from our WUS multimedia room from home, and also regarding interoperating it with Google Street View with Time Slider and Google Maps, for example, for robot and robocar simulations, and at the atomic level too, as well as the Street View level with Time Slider, and in a myriad of ways. So all the best, abolitionally, and with about 50 million people enslaved or caught in trafficking, so sadly, a best Steam Creative Commons licensed open courseware wiki at World Uni and SCH, hashtag WUAS abolition movement, continues to grow to protect people. And see the blog posts in these regards from October of 2025, beginning Eagle, IKEA, World University and School in both blogs. And in WUAS seeking to code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet from here at World University to facilitate wiki free universal education, and potentially to end poverty too, to end poverty worldwide. Yogically, 8 limbs of yoga, and see the tree of 8 limbs of yoga picture in the blog post from last week, Santa Cruz Mountains, California, for WS Weekly Business Meeting in both blogs. Friendly NTF, NTQ Quaker, and Ray Quaker Spices, simplicity, peace, integrity, community, equality, stewardship, and Unitarian Universalist Church regarding the 7 or 8 UU principles. Greetings, kind regards, Scott. Scott G.K. McLeod, president at worlduniversityandschool.org. If you'd like to join this open WUS weekly business meeting, founder, president, CEO, and professor at yoga teacher and presiding and recording clerk, loosely in the manner of unprogrammed NTF friends, Quakers. And recording will be posted here at youtube.com/Scott McLeod World University /videos. So in moving on to the agenda, here at Google, beginning with the wing World University and School, which is a 501c3 nonprofit at the U.S. federal government level, U.S. federal legal level, we'll focus a little bit on Google Quantum Echoes, OSK, the first three Yamanaka factors, which do aging reversal, and possibly, or exploring, reversing the arrow of time, and regarding the Google quantum computer at the University of California, Santa Barbara. And also regarding Avatar Agent EHR, electronic health records, and think Little Pegman in Google Street View with Time Slider becoming our Avatar Agent electronic health records, and reversing the arrow of time where the Google Time Slider in Google Street View, say at the molecule and cell levels, might be reversible, where the time slider would be the arrow of time, which we could time slide back and thus reverse in this simulation of Google Street View with Time Slider at the G molecule view level, at the G qubit view level, and also in a realistic virtual Earth for genetics, hashtag realistic virtual Earth for genetics, where Google Street View at the molecule view level could become, with Google Street View with Time Slider, could become the environment, the simulation environment for this. So the first wing, World University and School, first of two WUAS wings. worlduniversityandschool.org is its beginning homepage, and see both exempt legal entities, tax IDs, at the bottom of this. Agenda item 0, as video minutes. See the recording from weekly business meeting from last week, August 3rd, 2026, using the agenda from the week before, July 27th, 2026, on Monday too. Agenda item 1, General Biological Intelligence, AI, Stanford CS, Computer Science, Prof. Eric Nguyen, and Radical Numerics, a company he co-founded, has 16 roles open, from MTS pre-post training, infra and systems, mechanical interpretation or mechanistic interpretation, to product leads in scientific discovery. How best? At Eric Nguyen's Twitter feed, EXNX, at GeoChurch, at Amy Neurons, Amy Sterling Robinson, or Robinson, I think, or Robinson Sterling, to interoperate these 16 hashtag CS roles in World University and School, developing a hashtag realistic virtual Earth for aging reversal, hashtag for longevity, RVE for longevity, hashtag RVE for genetics, and in hashtag G Street View with and at the G cell view level, G molecule view levels, with hashtag G Time Slider, with general biological intelligence, hashtag general biological intelligence AI. Explored this further in an restorative yoga class I'm teaching on August 1st, 2026, in the blog post beginning Twin Flower, Linnea Borealis, in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, from July of 2026. because I posted it in July and then post-dated it to August 1st. And also see the blog post beginning Kenai Fjords National Park, Alaska, in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 2. There's a Fettes College Scotland high school, which is a high school, gathering at physical Oxford University on September 16th, 2026. I'm an alum of Fettes College. I went there for the first year, sixth form, first year in 1977, 1978. And regarding hashtag British Isles, hashtag high achievement education, somehow culturally, how best at World Univ and SCH to develop online hashtag WUS students and with, for example, Friends Select School, friends-select.org in Philadelphia, and onlyfriends.org in Ohio, two Quaker schools, historically Quaker schools. I think Friends Select can be dated back to something like 1682 with a variety of forerunners, and Only Friends can be dated back to something like 1838. So in a similar parallel way to, in some ways, Fettes College, Scotland, having a meeting at Physical Oxford, possibly for Fettes students to explore going to Oxford University, and Oxford matriculating high-achieving students from Fettes College. And regarding World University and School, even beginning further, England World University and School, and Great Britain World University and School for online free WUS degrees building on MIT OpenCourseWare, and somehow culturally, where we might also cultivate online classes of British students to matriculate at England World University and School, at Scotland World University and School for free online degrees. How best at World University and School to develop similarly, possibly, but online gatherings for WUS students in America, possibly, for example, from Friends Select School in high school in Philadelphia and Only Friends in Barnesville, Ohio, to matriculate at World University and School online from home. We would also, at World University and School, reach out to Quaker high schools in Britain, but I don't know of any right now, presently, that might bring these two countries' prospective students for World University and School culturally through the Religious Society of Friends somehow together for online degrees at Friendly Informed World University and School too. So I searched and found the head of school at Friends Select School, Michael Gary, and he's included in these WUS weekly business meeting emails. And Christian Akama, who's the only school, head of school, and originally from Africa, and potentially further, and also friend Bob Brockwell at the main office at onlyfriends.org, who I think is also an Only alum and whom I met last, just around Xmas time in December of 2025, as I was driving west again from Asylum, even in Pennsylvania, in Western Pennsylvania, back to the West Coast, because in my analysis, the West Coast, San Francisco Bay Area had become safer. How best to possibly, through these two heads of school, reach out to Quaker high school students, graduates, for free online World University and School degrees from all 50 US states who might have gone to Friends Select and Olney School. Olney School, I think, attracts more of an international student body also, and how even to select or to matriculate from Africa at World University and School students for free online WUS degrees. In communication with these two heads of school, Michael Gary and Christian Akama, brainstorming wise, Bob Brockwell too. Agenda item 3. So I've touched on this above, but 3 unique MIT multimedia rooms for example, n-dimensional modeling, and also potentially used in museums, and able to project Google Street View with Time Slider, Google Maps, e.g. for robot and robotic car simulations, and at the atomic and molecular view levels, for example, for genetics research and in a myriad of other ways. See more about this in the blog post beginning Snake's Head Fritillary in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from July of 2026. Agenda item 4. So further, regarding international organized crime, where I construe this as the wrongful buying of and selling of people in the illegal sex, drugs, violence, car theft, military targeting, etc. industries internationally, and their latent networks of violence, of which I think I've been in asylum on the Eastern Seaboard due to this international organized crime in the SF Bay Area, and also have been returned and still had to navigate potentially even what seemed to me to be the attempts to institutionalize international organized crime in the SF Bay Area, in the SF East Bay, possibly by, crazily, death threats, Tesla-related companies, sadly. And as World University and School continues to build a worldwide abolition movement to protect people. Try hashtag international organized crime in the International Criminal Court out of the Netherlands, at Governor Tim Walz, and where Tim Walz had posted something like "See you in court, creep," to the I guess founder of Tesla, etc. And potentially try international organized crime regarding that company and SpaceX as well, of which I think he is the founder, and Twitter X as well, where Twitter X is, I guess, owned by Noel Kasem. And regarding hashtag divest Tesla SpaceX, and to knock back hashtag international organized crime. So in growing a hashtag WUS abolition, WUS Worldwide Abolition Movement at World Univant SCH, with 200 hashtag WUAS UNIVS universities from nation states, and coding for all 7.9 billion people for free education. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Snake's Head Fritillary in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, from July of 2026. Agenda item 5. How best further to proceed with getting and signing the property deed for 670 Ridgecrest Canyon, California, 94516 in Contra Costa County questions. and potentially as the US federal government with the state of California work effectively in new ways together in some of these regards. And as World University and School with the WUAS Academic Medical Center, for example, WUS Multimedia Hospital Room seeks to move further forward into 670 Ridgecrest Road, Canyon, California, 94516. In communication with Kristen Connolly, who is the clerk recorder in Contra Costa County and a former lawyer, where I also, in many ways, am the clerk recorder at World University and School, as well as in communication with US Senator and former Harvard Law professor Elizabeth Warren, and about 70 others in some of these regards. Agenda item 6. Further, those questions about property deed for 670 Ridgecrest Road, Canyon, California, 94516 in Contra Costa County are in the blog post beginning Colomia Flowers from August of 2026 in my blog. August 6th, agenda item 6. Further, in the same blog post, beginning Colomia Flowers, how could a hashtag realistic virtual earth for genetics plus, and think hashtag G Street View with G Time Slider and G Pegman becoming our avatar agent EHR at the G cell view level, and the G molecule view level and the G qubit view levels help with hashtag ER100, which is a drug that's going through clinical trials. It's an OSK drug. It's for open angle glaucoma and one other glaucoma condition. And regarding also a realistic virtual earth for genetics, and further, hashtag OSK, Oct, Sox, Kuffel, the first 3 Yamanaka factors, hashtag OSK gene drug therapy developments, and be a game changer. In what ways could World University and School build out a realistic virtual earth for genetics with exploring further families of drugs that might emerge from ER100, this drug for glaucoma conditions that's going through clinical trials presently, and develop this realistic virtual earth for OSK and gene drug therapies, and possibly for clinical trials too, and be a game changer. Enormous, possibly general biological intelligence AI questions also. And read more about this in the blog post beginning Colomia Flower. Agenda item 7. How with hashtag general biological intelligence AI to hashtag G time slide to the years 2007, about 19 years ago, 2012, and 2024. And from the Harbin Hot Springs Gatehouse in Google Street View with Time Slider. And also when we were 7 years old, 12 years old, and 24 years old. So for me, slide back to 1967 when I was 7 years old. Or 1968, in hashtag G Street View with Time Slider. And regarding Harbin Book, at Harbin Book Twitter feed, regarding with hashtag aging reversal and hashtag extreme longevity, hashtag avatar agent EHR, electronic health records from Google Pegman. And regarding also the August 1st, 2026, hashtag yoga and longevity genetics convo, which is an ongoing conversation between yoga and longevity genetics that is emerging both on Twitter and in this restorative yoga class that I'm teaching. It's sort of an email yoga class. And this above is a Twitter post too, retweeting George Church's Twitter tweet from 2 or 3 years ago, and regarding an age meter from the Centers for Age Control, Inc., developer of Age Meter. That tweet reads, acclaimed scientist Dr. George Church describes your need for age meter functional age test, info and shipping for medical practices, info and download for consumer iPad app, hashtag age meter, hashtag longevity, hashtag health, hashtag wellness, hashtag functional age test. Read more about this as an age meter emerges that might help with aging reversal in a realistic virtual Earth, even regarding coding from the Harbin Hot Springs Gatehouse to 2024, 2012, 2007, which dates are already there for the Harbin Hot Springs Gatehouse, and elaborate from there at the molecular and cellular and street view levels, for example, and with Little Pegman becoming our avatar agent, EHR. And see more about this in the blog post beginning early Gentian Villa Anglica, Gentianella Anglica in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from August of 2026. Agenda item 8. So restorative class on Saturdays continues, and as we may live to 150 and well beyond. And how best, I ask in the August 1st, 2026 Saturday, exploratory yoga or restorative yoga explorations, how best Eric Nguyen, George Church, and Amy Neurons to interoperate these 16 CS roles that Radical Numerics has posted recently in World Univ and SCH, developing a realistic virtual Earth for aging reversal, for longevity, for genetics, and a realistic virtual Earth for yoga and yoga asana. Twitter post in these regards, exploring an 8/1/2026 hashtag yoga and longevity genetics convo further in the blog post beginning twin flower, Linnea Borealis, posted in July of 2026 in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, how with hashtag general biological intelligence AI to hashtag G time slide to years 2007, 2012, and 2024. And when we were 7, 12, and 24 too, in G Street View with G Time Slider, from the Harbin Hot Springs Gatehouse in G Street View with that URL, and for aging reversal and with avatar agent EHR. More about this in the blog post beginning twin flower Linnea Borealis. And in these yoga explorations for Saturday, August 1st, I also share some yoga asana, restorative yoga asana to explore, and further about how to potentially work with Radical Numerics and Eric Nguyen, and glad to have connected also with Eric on Twitter. There's a fascinating interview with him by Mario Gabriele, where Eric is a wonderful thinker about machine learning, where in one part of this video, he shares how to combine the language of DNA, say as strings of text, as language, with images. And this seems ideally suited for developing in, say, Google Street View with Time Slider, with text in the sidebar for the DNA language. Agenda item 9. Added 3 Google for Education, Italiano sessions. And regarding the Google EDU on Air Italiano webpage and the Google Gemini-Academy.it for Italy, to the Italian language World University in School wiki subject page, not yet in Italian, accessible from the languages wiki subject page at World University in School, and formatted in the way I lay out in the blog post from August 3rd, Monday. There are 3 videos in Italian, and I added them to the Italian language page, and invite you to also wiki teach and wiki learn. So the format I have in mind for World University in Schools, adding to wiki subject pages, we still haven't made, for example, an app for this or some sort of program, a reference program, begins with potentially the author. Here's it, I say Google for Education, period, the year 2026, period. This is posted in select videos on the Italian language page. So open bracket, the YouTube video URL, and then the title of it, Italiano Strategia o Stregoneria, ? Automatizzare il flusso di lavoro IT con Google Workspace Studio, Google for Education. And then following that, close bracket, period. A little information, extra information, if it's available. And there was a Google Docs page associated with this video in parentheses. And then place of publishing, if you know it. And I wasn't sure here. And then publisher. And I said Google for Education. I've posted this citation format also in World University in School and welcome you to teach to World University in School in this way or other ways. And then there was also one Spanish Google for Education teaching session. And I added it to the Spanish language World University in School with a similar format. Google for Education, Español. Privacidad, complemento normativo, Gemini y Notebook LM, Google for Education. Te la gustado la sesión en Edu on Air. Encontrarás muchos más recursos y sesiones adaptados a tu perfil. And the Español Google Education on Air webpage. Check them out. Start teaching in your language. Add it to World University in School, especially as we develop. First now in English, in your language. Many languages, wiki schools are posted, not yet in those languages, but in English, and post your language teaching to these pages. Agenda item 10. Happy birthday, Henry, in the 2020s, but not yet in the 2120s. Henry Robb is perhaps my oldest friend from when we were babies in the Cambridge, Brookline, Boston, Massachusetts area from the early 1960s. And might we, with extreme longevity genetic drugs, live to the 2120s and beyond, so 100 years from now. And regarding also creativity, Henry plays the violin, and I wished him happy birthday in this e-birthday, e-party celebration. I thought you might enjoy the snippet of Giuseppe Verdi's hashtag Verdi Messe da Requiem, played by the Berlin Philharmonic. Brainstorming. How might we all get out our musical instruments, e.g., Henry, your violin, and play or sing. Henry, I think, can also sing bass with this super performance of Verdi's Messa de Requiem, improvisationally even. And as we also begin the online symphony orchestra at World University and School, planned in real time or quasi-real time for online music making from our homes, and also for opera, since this is a choral piece too, and in a realistic virtual earth, say a music studio in our room that's a WS multimedia room. Listen to this beautiful piece and check out the symphony orchestra at World University and School and the Opera Wiki subject page. How to play, sing with, say, Messa da Requiem, just this snippet, I think it's the Dies Irae, in a realistic virtual earth. Set a Twitter post about this. And further, how might you be celebrating, Henry? Happy birthday. It's been a long time, since the earliest 1960s, when we were babies together in Brookline, Cambridge, and Boston, and on the backside of Beacon Hill, 5 Phillip Street, where my family lived, I think. Fond regards warmly. More about this in the blog post beginning Snake's Head Fritillary. Agenda item 11. I've touched on this before, 9 unique multimedia rooms for n-dimensional modeling, and also for example, museums and libraries, all museums ever in all language in a virtual space, all libraries ever, WS Multimedia Studio, WS Multimedia Hospital Rooms, all from home, or teaching hospitals at great universities around the US and around the world. Touched on also in agenda item 12, the abstract-technology.de communications in the introductory letter. Agenda item 13 also touched on Gushworks AI in the introductory letter. Agenda item 14 also touched on simpler.grants above, and also in agenda item 15 touched on accredited or accrediting WUS in Germany to matriculate students potentially around Monday, January 4th, 2027. So moving on to the second wing of WUS, the WUS Corporation, the second of 2 WUS wings, the for-profit general stock company legal entity in the state of California wing, which is planned as an academic press at WUS in all 7,159 languages with machine and human translation, and regarding the WUAS educational services stores, all from the beginning webpage of worlduniversityandschool.org, academicpress.html, which I think has 5 books on it that the WUS Press has published, as well as 3 Lego robotics kits at this time. And see the tax ID number at the bottom of worlduniversityandschool.org/academic press, where this is a for-profit general stock company legal entity in the state of California. So agenda item A, in a blog post beginning Cypripedium acaule, the pink lady's slipper or moccasin flower, from Thursday, July 30th, 2026. This is the WS Corporation side. How can at World University and School and at WUS Press design a hashtag WUS educational services stores? So both with a WUS store within a store model, and regarding with Walmart in its 19 countries. And for example, secondly, a new hashtag WUS education store in hashtag Bangladesh WUAS in the hashtag Bangla language, possibly for outreach. So this would be on the first World University and School.org wing. 3, and plan for Walmart in a hashtag Walmart WUAS collaboration, helping write the hashtag WUAS Corp IPO, initial public offering, in all 200 hashtag WUAS countries, accessible from nation states at World University and School, as world-class universities. And fourthly, with a hashtag realistic virtual earth for retail, hashtag RVE for retail. So both wings would work together. This is primarily WUAS Corporation focused, however. And in building this out, more about this in the blog post beginning Cypripedium Caule Pink Lady Slipper. Agenda item B. Get your MindPi cryptocurrency here at mindpi.com/SGKMAC, free money daily. World University and School is seeking to facilitate, make it available for all 7.9 billion people from you at World University and School, or from you at World University, each a Wikidata PIN number, and potentially to facilitate free universal education, but especially to encoding for all 7.9 billion people, but especially to end poverty worldwide, possibly by distributing MindPi to, say, the billion poorest of these 8 billion people. And along with them needing smartphones and electricity and potentially IT infrastructure in their countries, and potentially education as well. And in the WUS educational services stores, in a WUS store within a store model with Walmart in 19 out of 200 countries. And in all 200 WUS countries, world-class World University and Schools from nation states at World University and School. And lastly, agenda item C. What is Pi? It's a new digital currency developed by Stanford PhDs with over 55 million members worldwide. To claim your Pi, this link, mindpi.com/SGKMAC, and my username, SGKMAC, can be used as your invitation code. I posted about this to LinkedIn, created a set of Twitter posts in some of these regards. Pi Network Ventures made headlines last week as a 100 million initiative to support startups advancing Pi's adoption and real life applications. If you know any top tier startup companies, spread the message. Hashtag Nicholas Pi at nkokolis, one of the 2 founders of Pi cryptocurrency. Hashtag Peter Norvig, at Sundar Pichai, at WUAS Press, hashtag WUAS Pi. And further, another set of Twitter X posts. Would you like Pi cryptocurrency free money daily and to end poverty worldwide at World Uni and SCH at WUS Press with the Pi URL invitation code at mindpi.com/SGKMAC, and plan for all 7.9 billion people as WUAS grows a hashtag worldwide abolition movement to protect people. How might all 200 countries' governments seek to regulate hashtag MindPi KYC process? KYC process is the Pi cryptocurrency's know your customer process. And I would think that as people start using Pi cryptocurrency to buy and sell things with, and since everyone has to go through a registration process involving KYC, that this will potentially be something that all 200 countries' governments will look into further possibly to protect people. And further, to end poverty worldwide, here's Stanford MindPi cryptocurrency, free money daily, which you can get. Share it with people. At Prasant O Nature, it could especially help, for example, in India, and as at World Univ and SCH at WS Press seek to distribute it to all 7.9 billion people from you at World University. And this retweets from a couple of years ago. The network has reached a Pi Twitter post, Pi Core Twitter post. The network has reached over 13 million pioneers who have passed KYC, and over 6 million pioneers who have migrated to the mainnet. Through our collective efforts, we're progressing towards the open network goals. Keep in mind that the progress is not linear and has been accelerating historically. Considering the ongoing grace period that started on July 1st, 2024, act now to KYC and complete your mainnet checklist to join the millions of pioneers already on the mainnet. So again, Pi, anyone can start mining Pi right now and getting some Pi coins on their smartphone app. I've accumulated nearly 7,000 Pi coins over a couple of years, mining it every 24 hours, pressing 2 buttons, taking less than 5 seconds. And again, Pi is a new digital currency developed by Stanford PhDs with over 55 million members worldwide. To claim your Pi, follow this link, mindpi.com/SGKMAC, and my username and as your user code. So that's the WUS news and question and answer for today, August 10th, 2026. And I'll post the recording of this to the current YouTube channel for World University and School, youtube.com/World University, Scott McLeod World University /videos, as well as to both blog posts for today, beginning Sandia Mountains Wilderness, NM, New Mexico, as well as to both main Twitter X feeds, twitter.com/WORLDUNIVANDSCH, and twitter.com/WUS Press, as well as to 3 LinkedIn pages for World University and School. And see you next week. The agenda is already posted in today's blog post for beginning Sandia Mountain Wilderness, New Mexico, for next week, Monday, August 17th. In the meantime, looking forward to communication in a myriad of ways online, in social media and similar. Beginning webpage is worlduniversityandschool.org. Until next week, see you later. Looking forward to further communication online over the next week. Bye for now.